Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Richard and welcome back to the weekly Watchlist video sponsored by MarketSmith. Here are the stocks on my focus list for this upcoming trading week. Some of them do report earnings, ENPH, UPWORK this week, so keep that in mind. But we'll go through both the fundamentals and technicals of all the stocks on this list. And if you do enjoy my analysis, please go ahead and right now take the time to leave me a like down below and subscribe if you haven't yet to the channel. Diving in, let's start with AFRM. It's been on the list off and on really since these gap ups here, and it's progressed nicely here. I do have a position at this moment. Really nice sales growth going back the past 4 quarters. Estimates in terms of annual EPS aren't great, and we'll have to see whether these tick upward in the coming weeks and months. But great growth in fund ownership, already 281 funds. You do have a dip within the institutional due diligence phase, but we're back up and increasing here, and you've got one high quality fund, Fidelity, in this stock. As for the chart, you can see it's held up well above this 146.9 level. The green line here found support there right on this day. Basically, I would love for it to go sideways for a few more days, then break out here through 160, and you can manage risk right at these swing lows. So that's AFRM. Moving on, we've got AMD. This does have earnings as well in 2 days, and it just broke out of the stage 2 double bottom base. So here would have been the first entry through this consolidation pivot, here through the standard pivot, and now what I'm watching for some type of entry point, maybe on earnings if it gaps up and goes. So overall, in terms of earnings sales margins, this is fantastic. Great annual EPS estimates as well for this year and the next, and great growth in fund ownership and 2 high quality funds invested into this stock. So that's what I'm watching with AMD. Also, let me know down below in the comment section your favorite setup from this list. And also let me know if there's any stocks that I should add to this list that aren't already on there. So moving on to Bill, great move since this breakout from the stage 3 base, earnings gap up, and now it's consolidated that move, pulled back to the 21 EMA, pushed off that, and now going kind of quiet and tight against the 300 level. So what I'm watching for is a push through these highs on volume and overall great sales growth the past 4 quarters. Annual estimates in terms of EPS are revised upwards most recently. Great growth in fund ownership, and look at how many high quality funds are invested in this stock. This really adds to my conviction here, but you do have earnings in 11 days, it looks like. So not next week, but coming up fairly soon. Moving on, we've got COIN, another potential true market leader here. Great earnings sales margins the past 4 quarters, great estimates for this year. Definitely a drop in 2022, but the estimate revisions are up, and you've got decent growth in fund ownership and 2 high quality funds in there as well. As for a chart, you can see it's pulled back and found support right at this level on this Friday, and I wouldn't mind an inside day, some consolidation, and then a push up towards all-time highs, breaking through this pivot on strength. Or you can look for an early entry here, maybe an inside day and up setup, managing risk right at these swing lows or at the low of this day right here. So that's COIN, earnings due in 16 days, but definitely a promising stock, and we'll have to see whether it can push towards these all-time highs. Moving on, we've got CrowdStrike. Cybersecurity has been very strong. Great earnings sales margins the past 4 quarters. Really strong estimates for this year and the next, up 70%. That's super significant, and estimate revisions are up. Another good sign. Great growth in fund ownership and 3 high quality funds in there as well. This was the earliest entry here through a low cheat. Then it pushed up strongly, and now is consolidating right below all-time highs, 289.24. So I'm watching for a push through that level on volume, managing risk at that day's low or the prior day's low, right near this level, 280. Moving on, we've got ENPH, and the solar group has been strong the past 2 weeks, although it did pull back and consolidate last week. And what I'm watching for is some tightness here below the pivot, and then a breakout through these levels or through the 181.72 mark. And you do have earnings in 2 days, so keep that in mind. Potential earnings gap up through these pivots as well is in play potentially, and you've got great earnings sales margins the past 3 quarters. Great estimates for this year and the next, although estimate revisions are down. Nice steady growth in fund ownership and 2 high quality funds in there as well. So that's what I'm watching for ENPH. And similarly for the next stock, FSLR, we've got great earnings growth the past 2 quarters. Not much to say in terms of annual EPS, a little bit of growth this year, and then a significant drop off expected in 2022. So keep that in mind. But you've got a nice and steady growth in fund ownership, although it has declined the past 2 quarters, and no high quality funds in this just yet. So ENPH looks stronger fundamentally, but this in terms of price strength is a little bit stronger because it's right near all-time highs and looks pretty set up. And as for the chart, going back to the daily, you can see it held the 21 EMA and now is consolidating tight inside day on declining volume on this past Friday. So potential for an inside day and up and break out through these pivots and the 107.27 mark as well. And moving on, we've got HUT, a crypto miner, and you can see great growth in sales the past 2 quarters, earnings growth there as well, looking back in the past. Great EPS growth expected for this year and the next, and EPS estimates are increasing, and you've got a little bit of growth in fund ownership the past 2 quarters. As for chart, it has pulled back to below this pivot, so I want to see it kind of form an inside day, tighten up a little bit, and then allow an entry here, but we'll have to see whether it kind of falls to 21 EMA and then starts to consolidate and push up from there. But definitely want to watch, especially because the space is so strong. Moving on, we've got MNDY, a great sales growth the past 4 quarters, annual EPS. Not much to say here. It's not yet profitable, and estimate revisions are down, but you've got decent fund ownership and 3 high-quality funds in here as well. Looking at the chart, it's forming a stage 1 cup with a standard pivot of 425.84, but what I'm watching for is some breakout action through these pivots, and basically some fall through from the inside bar, which had a pretty good close on this Friday. So push through here, managing risk at this low right here or the low of the day. Moving on, we've got SI, another crypto related company here, and you can see great earnings, sales margins the past 4 quarters. Annual estimates are strong this year and the next, although estimate revisions are down. A nice increase in fund ownership and 2 high quality funds in here as well. It did have a gap down on earnings, but what I do like is it's staying above it and had constructive action these 2 days. Did have a little bit of a shakeout here, but it found support at the 21 EMA. So I really want to see some tightness form and then a push through 150 and start to fill out this gap right here. So that is SI, something to watch in the crypto space for sure. Moving on, we've got Skin, and you can see great growth in sales and margins the past quarter. Annual estimates, you can see it's supposed to be profitable this year and the next, although estimate revisions are down for next year. Great growth in fund ownership and 1 high quality fund in here as well. As for the chart, it's shown incredible strength from the stage 1 consolidation breakout, and now it's forming another base here in the high 28. So a little bit wide and loose, especially the past 2 days. You've got 2 bad closes, so I definitely want to see it kind of tighten up and really nail the breakout through into all-time high. So that is SKN. Next up, we've got Unity Software, and you can see very solid sales growth the past 4 quarters. Not supposed to be profitable within the next 2 years, but you've got a nice steady increase in fund ownership and 1 high-quality fund in there as well. So far, it's progressed well from the stage 1 cup with handle and was tight to end out last week. So I'm watching for a push through these highs towards these all-time highs right here on volume, managing risk right at the swing low or the low of the breakout day. Next up, we've got UPST, super strong from this earnings gap up and breakout from the stage 1 cup. Great growth in earnings, sales, margins. Estimates are super strong for this year, and some fall through is expected in 2022. Nice growth in fund ownership and 1 high quality fund in there as well. Looking at the chart, it's been super strong from this earnings gap up and breakout from the stage 1 consolidation, and then formed a high tight flag pivot at 346.54. Right now it's below this pivot. I actually did own some from this breakout within the base, but I did let it go last week in partials to protect my gain basically, but I'm definitely willing to buy this back if it kind of tightens up against this pivot and allows me to manage my risk at the swing lows, maybe at the 21 EMA. So that's UPST, definitely one to watch. And last up, we've got UPWORK forming a really nice stage 2B cup with handle with a standard pivot right at 60.58. Great growth in earnings, sales, margins the past 4 quarters. Just supposed to be profitable in 2022. Nice steady growth in fund ownership and 4 high quality funds in here as well. There's another stock with earnings in 3 days. And I think earnings next week will really kind of show us the risk appetite of institutions. Are they willing to buy up these growth stories, or are we going to see more selling like we saw with Snap right here? So it remains to be seen, but this is my focus list once again going into next week. Let me know your thoughts down below about these setups and kind of what is your favorite from this list. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and leave a like down below and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys in future videos. Thanks.